What's up, junkies? Welcome in for another edition of Pigskin Junkies. Myself, Michael Larson, Big Brother Jared Larson, and Scott Panza here to recap the weekend of college and professional football. I am just brutal in the weekend again for Jared and myself in college. Us tallying, well, I guess Jared was closer to 500 than I was. 2-3, moving him to 13-12 on college picks, and then I was 1-4, moving me to 12-11, which for me, fellas, I gotta say, UCF was covering at halftime and then was up 56-0 of a 44-point spread. Was up by 42 in field goal range. It was 4th and 9, and they go for it instead of kicking the field goal, which would have covered, and end up not covering. Brutal Saturday.
Civil conflict, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were both on Nebraska. What a no-show.
Oh,
that was.
I don't know what no-show is worse for me. I had two games. I was like, big motivation spots for teams. Primetime Nebraska, primetime Maryland on Friday night. And both of them, I don't think they came out of the locker room. So it's obvious where the state of the Big Ten is. You think these other cats are going to come up and start making a run for it, but the top dogs are still holding their spots. Head-to-head, Jared and I didn't have a head-to-head this weekend for college. I know Scott and Jared, you had some head-to-head for NFL, which I believe was Jared's Wonkavator pick of the week.
Correct. Kyle Allen showed out.
Wonkavator went straight in the sewer. Is where it went this week.
It happened.
No good.
It happens.
I'm not a believer. Yeah, no. Well, so Virginia was down 18, decided they wanted to kick a field goal to go down 15 instead of going for the touchdown in the red zone to potentially cover the 12.5. It's tough when you see poor coaching decisions made like that, especially from a guy that I respect the heck out of in Bronco Nagurski. Not Bronco Nagurski, Bronco Mendenhall. Sorry, Freudian slip there.
Well, and then so I thought for sure, and Jared, I think you had this game, or you were thinking about it. Wisconsin Northwestern, I wanted to spoon my eyes out. It was horrible.
Yeah.
That was like
11 o'clock. No Beth Mullins. Apparently they moved her to Pac-12 after dark.
Let me tell you how pissed off I was. I'm sitting here, I'm like Pac-12 after dark, winding down. It's going to be a good night. And Beth Mullins' voice.
Steve Levy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know if Steve's a step in the right
Levy
direction.
and Greasy just getting after it.
Yeah, just sauce up in the booth.
Levy's 4 locos deep from his day activities in Tucson, trying to call a game, but no, instead it's Beth Mullins.
Mm-hmm. Brutal.
Barf.
Absolutely disgusting. So for our gun to our head segment, Jared, you're not going to like this. We were head-to-head on both of them. Obviously, we didn't bet these games.
You won both of them, didn't you?
I did. Notre Dame minus 12.5 and Washington minus 10.5. That brings our gun to our head segment, which I guess this is what I need to start betting, is the big games. Because I'm 4-1 in gun to the head, and then Jared is 1-4 in our college picks. So that's disgusting for me to look at because that's just money.
Start betting those games.
I know. Apparently that's what I got to do. But I'll give you fellas an opportunity now. Recap your so far. I don't think we do we have anything for Sunday night or Monday night football on the card?
So I have a Cowboys selection in one of my Circa entries that's currently 3-1. So a 4-1 weekend would be really nice. Start closing the gap. In Circa, I also went 3-2 and 4-1. So winning week in Circa. In the Super Contest, I went 3-2. The winners were Buffalo, Lions. Home dogs were barking there. Just covered the number in those games, and I was pretty happy. And then the Bears just laid it to the Vikings, and I'll let Micah get to the state of the Vikings in a little bit. Where I was wrong big on the Rams and the Cards, so I did not nail the NFC West. And I also owe an apology to Bruce Arians because I said he was in over his head coaching in Tampa Bay, and he should be in the AAF or the XFL and be a novelty there. And they went out there and laid it on the Rams. So they got out to a 21-0 lead and just left no room for error. So the winners in Circa, pretty much the same type of card, but I mixed the Giants in because they were laying 2.5. So, that was the day there. A little too much risk on the Rams, unfortunately, but had a steady dose of Buffalo, Carolina, Detroit, and the Bears. So, solid weekend. But the guy in the Super Contest is in the lead. He went 5-0 again. He's 19-1. He's just tearing the cover off the slate. And this is a weekend that Vegas made a ton of money because all the big favorites, all of consensus got smoked. So to make it out ahead, I feel pretty good about this weekend because I imagine Vegas just raked it in with the Chiefs not covering, the Pats not covering. Those are super popular. The Rams not covering, also super popular. So pretty wild weekend. And what about you, Jared?
So I also went 3-2 in both contests, in the Super Contest and Circa, respectively. I also was on the Bills as well as the Lions alongside Scott. Was happy to get that Lions win. I thought they were going to get it outright, but Patrick Mahomes and that Chiefs offense just continues to impress and score really at will. I think they've had every game in the 30s this season. So an extremely impressive effort from them to be able to get it done on the road. That's one of those things where, you say, hey, they may not have their best effort one day against a pretty good defense, but able to score in the 30s and get the road win is pretty impressive. Super Contest for me, the third win was the Bears. I didn't catch any of that, but we're going to let Micah recap. It doesn't sound like it was much of an effort. And then my third winner in the Circa Contest was none other than American hero Gardner Minshew and the Jacksonville Jaguars getting it done outright in Mile High. Although I got to say, we absolutely crushed Joe Flacco on this podcast. The Jags went up by 6, and I said 0% chance in hell Joe Flacco is going to take him down the field and get a touchdown, and he did. But he just a little too quick. I was actually quite impressed with the aggressive calling, and the Jags down the stretch were able to kick it into a 22-mile-an-hour wind, get the job done. So a 3-2 week, I think Scott hit the nail on the head. Ravens was another one that had a pretty high consensus, at least in the betting markets. I'm not sure what it looked like in the contest, Scott. I don't know if you have any data on that, but I feel like that would have been a popular pick.
So, yeah, I mean, consensus got absolutely smoked in the Super Contest this weekend. Actually, Super Contest Gold as well. All the top picks pretty much were losers, but in the Super Contest, I mean, the top pick was the Pats it was the Chiefs, so that was a loser. Pats loser, Vikings loser. Dallas and New Orleans are magically 4 and 5, and then next was Houston, Baltimore, Miami, Indianapolis. So all the top picks lost. So yeah. I mean, to get out with a winning weekend, I feel really good about. Even Super Contest Gold, the consensus where you would think is a little bit sharper. Somehow the Redskins were in that, and I don't know what people are watching to convince themselves that is a good bet, but that was horrid. But they had Chiefs, Dolphins, Skins, Carolina, so that was a winner, Saints pending, Tennessee, Minnesota, and then Buffalo. So, I mean, just a real bloodbath weekend. And I just saw a tweet from our good man Patrick Everson on Twitter, and he said that one Vegas odd maker on how his NFL operation went today. So good that I'm already into the wine. Yeah, I mean, they must have absolutely crushed it this weekend. I thought, the Cardinals were kind of teasing me with some sort of backdoor cover, and if they could just get one stop. Spoiler alert, they didn't get one stop. So
we did say on the preview show that we are both picking the Cardinals against the Seahawks, and for whatever reason, we just can't seem to. We always seem to zag when that team is zigging, and zag when they're zigging, or whatever I was supposed to say there.
You said the same thing twice, but it's fine.
We're supposed to be doing that other thing, and we don't. I know. I think the Seahawks are on the do not bet list for a couple weeks.
So. The good news is in week 4 or week 5, they're playing on Thursday night, so it's an auto stay away, and that's going to be another great game because it's Rams at Seahawks, and I'm juiced to see that one. And then next weekend, there's a lot of puke games. I mean, like Pats at Redskins, barf. You got Bears and Raiders in London, Titans, Bills. So that'll be a wild game, I'm sure. But just up and down, up and down, up and down. Panthers, Jags, Texans, Falcons. I mean, these are just puke games. I guess
What's the status of Josh Allen? I have not looked.
He was running around, but I don't know. It looked like he may have got concussed, and they just held him out. But I'll tell you, he looked really bad today, and he looked really bad the last time he played against the Pats last year. I think it's just the Pats are daring him to throw downfield, and they're just picking him off. The Pats defense is so freaking legit. It's crazy. I'm not overreacting to their offense not scoring a whole bunch today because I think they just played a very conservative game plan. Don't turn the ball over. We know we're going to get turnovers on the other side, and our defense is going to stop their offense. So they squeaked out with the win. And for me as a Pats fan, but action on the Bills, it was a perfect result today. Pats win, Bills cover. I was thrilled about that.
Are you sending a thank you card to Gostkowski for missing another extra game?
I should. I'll tell you, they have a real problem there. They got to start looking. Definitely this offseason, they got to draft a kicker because I think that he's going to cost the Patriots some games. He can't miss these field goals in the postseason when you're playing a legit team. But like I said, Chiefs, Pats, just roll it out there for the AFC.
I was going to say,
because there's no one else in the AFC. Nobody else to worry about.
Let's just get to it.
Also, can we? Can someone send me a status update on Lamar Jackson for MVP? I know that we crowned him the MVP after week 1, but can someone just send that along to me? Freddie Kitchens, I mean, small apology that he didn't look like such a dum-dum as a coach today, but I mean, that was an impressive performance that they threw on the Ravens, and somehow they're back in first place in that staunch division with the Steelers and the Bengals. Both offers right now.
That's the NFL, man. Just when it looks like it's, what's the line from Batman? It's like the dawn is the night is always darkest just
before the dawn.
Yeah, like I feel like that's the NFL. Just right when you're ready to hop off the train is when they show out. I mean, we were ready to bury Bruce Arians out back, and they scored 55 points today.
I know.
It's just like, where do these things come from?
Micah.
But yeah.
Can you give it to us? Let's hear it. I'm excited.
Well, it's good that we took a little bit of time after that game ended for me to just kind of calm down because I was not happy, and I feel bad. My lovely wife came home from Auburn, where it was a wonderful game this weekend, and I'm sitting here at home just pissed off, staring at my television. It's a 13-0, I think, at that point game. And like 13-0, like you think, oh, it's not bad. It's a 2-score game and you're winning, or like a 2-touchdown game and you're winning. And there was zero confidence. Chicago was just like, hey, we're gonna stuff the box. Dalvin Cook's not gonna be able to run the ball, and we're gonna put 1-on-1 on the outside. And Cousins sucks. I mean, the guy has. I tweeted it out since 2017. He has 27 fumbles. That's not counting the 2 that he had this game. 2. We're 4 games in. He's fumbled in every game, and he's at least fumbled twice in 2 of them. That's so...
Yeah, I feel like that's strategy. Like, so the Patriots and the Bears had a similar defensive strategy today, which one is acceptable because Josh Allen is a second-year quarterback, still learning the ropes, and he's getting paid nothing. Kirk Cousins has been in the league for 8 years, 9 years, and is getting paid $30-something million. And you're telling me you can't beat an 8-stacked box with Diggs, Thielen, Kyle Rudolph. Like, they got skill players, they got toys. You're paying the quarterback. The guy should be able to throw it down the field for $30 million. There's no excuse.
There were so many happy feet plays down the stretch where if he just hangs in there for another half second more, he has open receivers. He missed Dalvin Cook on a wheel route out of the backfield wide open down the sideline because he did 2 reads and then broke out right because Khalil Mack was on the left side of the line, so he has nightmares. And then Diggs on the last play of the game was, if he gave it another half second, I think he had space to deliver a ball in there for at least a first down. we threw, I think, 7 or 8 balls to the flat to CJ Ham, our fullback, because that makes sense. You're giving our fullback the ball in the flat. I mean, if you're a defensive coordinator, if you're Chuck Pagano, I'm like, yeah, sure. Do that all game, man.
Yeah.
I know. That's fine. We had 2 possessions the whole first half. Our defense couldn't get off the field. Mike Hughes, Mackenzie Alexander, and Trey Waynes all look like hot dog crap. And those are 3 people we've taken in the first 2 rounds. If I'm Spielman, I start looking at this draft going, okay, I think I'm going to take a quarterback and plug him in there because Cousins isn't the answer. I mean, it's so obvious at this point. There's been enough. You've had a season and then 2 big divisional games on the road, and you're incapable of moving the ball. The whole reason we brought this clown on the team is because he was going to win us the big games. That was what we needed. He was a difference maker to pair with this defense because he was going to be able to move the ball down the field and help win football games. And he's done nothing but lose us big football games.
Yep. Yes, he wins all the cupcakes and loses all the big ones. It's got to be frustrating. I'd just be so angry if that was my team.
Oh, I am. I'm very, very angry. And it's just, I even text all my buddies after last week. They're like, "Oh, big win." I'm like, yeah, it's great. We beat the crappy teams and then we get smoked by the good teams. There's too much talent on this roster to be mediocre.
What can they do?
The roster is loaded.
They can't do anything. I mean, we're screwed.
Hamstrung with the cap.
Yeah.
Like and that's why I my take really comes down to the money, because it's not, if you're not paying someone a lot of money and that's why the rest of the roster is good. You see that in certain other spots around the NFL, a la when Russell Wilson was still on his rookie deal and the Seahawks were going to the Super Bowl. Like, the roster is really good, and they're paying a quarterback $30 million. There's no wiggle room. There's nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. You have to have production from that position and that pay grade. And so the only thing they can do about it that Micah kind of alluded to was draft. You got to spike it in the draft, but that's, of course, way easier to say than it is to do.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
Or they could trade for Gardner Minshew, which would be amazing.
Trade for anyone, but who wants Cousins' contract?
For Nick Foles.
Trade for Nick Foles could be. Yeah, I'll be intrigued to see what they do. Poor Nick Foles. Guy can't catch a break.
No.
Everybody that comes in and plays for him is just lightning in a bottle.
Yeah. He finally gets his shot. It's karma, I guess. I don't know. I just it's very aggravating when you see the talent and it's just you can't do anything about it. And really that game changed so much in the first 4 plays of the game because they sacked Trubinsky. It's a sack fumble, and they call defensive holding. So they get the ball back, and then Chase Daniels leads them down the stinking field, which he looked better in that offense than Mitchell Trubinsky did. And
Trubisky stinks.
Yeah. So
he's not the answer. But again, I think Chicago is very similar to what Minnesota was 3 years ago. Loaded defense, some young guys on offense, a quarterback that is not going to cut it, but he's on a rookie deal, so who cares? They could do something about it, but I don't think Trubisky's the answer.
I mean, Dallas can make a statement tonight to go out into New Orleans Superdome and win that game, and they really stake their claim as the team to beat in the NFC, because other than them potentially, I mean, it's just completely wide open. The Rams look super vulnerable on defense today, a lot of turnovers. The Packers got torched on Thursday Night Football.
At home, gave up, 30-something?
Yeah.
On a short week? Come on, man.
Exactly. And then you have the Vikings and the Bears, suspect quarterback play. Detroit can't close games out. Who am I missing? Seahawks? Man.
I'm not beating them up. I'm not beating the Lions up as much for today's game, though, as I am for the Arizona game.
Yeah.
That one they should have won. Today, that's just you get beat by, in my opinion, an all-world player. You kind of just all right, well, whatever. They should have scored more touchdowns than they did. I'm buying it, Scott. I'm getting into your boy Patricia. I'm liking him.
The roar is restored.
The roar is restored. they could easily be 3-1. They'd be so much more comfortable in that division. I can't believe I still can't believe they let week 1 slip away from them. And now they're on a bye, so maybe they can get Darius Slay healthy and Matt Stafford healthy, and give it a go the rest of the way. But I mean, that division's so freaking hard. They're going to need some big defensive efforts when they play the Bears and the Vikings and the Packers. But I mean, they're right in the mix, which is pretty crazy. They got dumped on all preseason. Mm-hmm. All the analytics guys just dumped all over them.
That's probably the most competitive division. NFC.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's best brutal. Division in football by far. Not even close.
It's black and blue. Not anymore. But
well,
I mean, you still got some knockdown with Zimmer and with Patricia. Half the league is wanting to play like games like we're today, the 16-6s of the world. Mm-hmm. They love that stuff.
That Bears defense is no joke. Packers really got after the defensive side of the ball as well during the offseason. I tell you, that Wagons game, though, today, our Bills coming out of the gate was a little shaky. The wheels were a little wobbly. We kind of had to tighten those things up on the wagon.
5 turnovers, and Jamie Collins with that last interception, he's so athletic. He had a little daylight. I'm so happy that they tackled him so he can get the cover on the kneel downs. But I gasped when I saw it.
Like, oh no. I mean, I agree with you, Micah. They got punched in the mouth and they responded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
you could lay down pretty quick against a team like the Patriots when you get popped 14 goose or 13 goose. I mean, yeah. I think they responded well. That defense, I think, is real deal. I agree with Scott. There's certainly some holes in Josh Allen's game, but if you can play from ahead with them, I really like their chances to win a lot of games. But it's tough. It's going to be tough for them to claw back in stuff.
So what, to you guys, and Scott, I'm going to give you a little background information. And I joke about this, and Jared's going to make fun of me, but what's a more embarrassing situation? You have Maryland, who cancels class on Friday so that kids and everyone can get to the game. Blackout for the stadium, jerseys, everything, and get skunked like 56-0 at home.
59 goose.
Yeah, 59 goose at home. Or you're the Atlanta Falcons and you bust out the best-looking uniforms in the history of the NFL. And you just suck. I mean, is Dan Quinn going to make it through the year?
I think Arthur Blank gives him the season, but I mean, Dirk Cutter is. The answer to your question, though, is definitely canceling class, then putting up a donut, 59-0 on the L. And apparently, there was a lot of sharp, quote unquote, sharp money at the end. Right before kickoff, they hammered Maryland, so the Bucks were probably just lighting cigars with all that money they were working in on that one. That's wild. I didn't know they canceled class. That's crazy.
Embarrassing.
How many students do you think were upset about that?
0.
Yeah.
Actually, there was probably some engineering students that were not happy about it.
Yeah, and they're like, I didn't come here for the football team. We need to terrible.
I didn't come here for the football team. I came here for the basketball team. Why would you guys do this? They got blitzkrieg. That was over
before it started.
15 minutes in, real time, it was over.
Yeah.
And Dan Quinn is a lame duck at this point. I agree with Scott. They'll give him the year because there's really no reason to fire him at this point. But they will have a new coaching staff next year.
Someone explained to me how Dirk Cutter is supposed to be a great offensive mind, because I saw some of the play calls that they had today, and they were just absolutely atrocious.
And they have everything. They have weapons. There's no reason for them to not score. Zero reason.
Another week that they let Calvin Ridley do nothing somehow. I mean, I don't get how these guys keep these jobs. It's wild to me.
It's boys club. That's how they all get the retread stuff to me is just remarkable. Where it's like, this guy's been a coordinator forever. Then he was a head coach. Then he was a coordinator. Then he was a head coach. Then he was a coordinator. And they've always sucked like maybe it's the coordinator's fault. Maybe it's not the players this time. Yeah, I don't understand. Vic Fangio might be. You think they'll fire him, Scott? 0-4. That team, Elway, they do not like losing out there.
They don't. But is it his fault? He's stuck with Joe Flacco at QB. He's kind of, being given a raw deal there.
I was gonna say, I guess Elway forces Flacco on him. Probably.
Maybe they go trade for Nick Foles.
I think Elway has a statue, a room with just 3 statues. One's just a really tall man, and then one is just a really big hand, and then another one is like a ruler that's stretched out really far. And he sits in that room, and it's like one of the hand is one of those chairs that you can sit in, one of those stupid, and he just sits in there, and he kind of just curls up into a ball in this giant hand. He's like, quarterbacks that are tall with big hands and can throw it really far. These are my guys. I love them. Because he just constantly, it's always, the guy's he just brings in quarterbacks all the time. All the time. I mean, they have 5 quarterbacks every year.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it worked. It worked once because he brought in Peyton Manning and they won the Super Bowl. So that's all you need. One time, then you think you're a genius.
Yeah, and the Vikings brought in Brett Favre. Okay.
And
you brought in a Hall of Famer.
Super Bowl, but then he threw an interception in New Orleans.
Bountygate. Don't even get me started on that. I'm still butthurt.
Oh, jeez. That's it. Auburn's the real deal.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this game next weekend.
Why? Who do they play?
Florida.
Preview of the preview show. Auburn is at the University of Florida Gators on Saturday. Game day is going to be in Gainesville. Yours truly and the little brother will be in the Heezy for the game.
Awesome.
It's going to be amazing.
It's going to be rowdy.
That sounds like a day right there, my friend.
It's going to be great.
So, might be a little extra hair on the teeth when we're doing this recap show next week. I have to be a little earlier in the day because I'm going to bed early.
I know. I have I have this flask sitting at my desk right here with the brown water, and it's got the Vikings logo on it. And if we keep going like this, I'm going to switch from drinking Mountain Dews to getting into this thing.
Yeah,
right
you're going to
here,
need some of that stuff. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the positives to take away is that it was a winning weekend despite just Vegas crushing it. So just got to keep the body blows up. And hopefully the guys at 19-1 start losing some games. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I would say. I mean, we definitely gained on the field. You didn't. There was no gaining on the leader per se, but as it pertains to the rest of the field,
absolutely
picking 3 winners this week is definitely gaining ground.
Mm-hmm. Just a late swap out with the cards, moving into my card a little too much at the last moment. Derailing what could have been a 4-1 weekend, but live and learn. On to week 5 and
onward.
Hindsight 2020.
Week 5 is just a gross weekend. I'm really excited about the Patriots against the Skins because what I saw from Dwayne Haskins today was putrid. He is not good.
Yeah, the video of him laughing when the Giants drafted Daniel Jones has resurfaced, and I think it's great because that's just going to be his video forever. And if what people are calling him, what is it, DJ Dimes or something like that, Danny Dimes, but did you see what he wore to him walking in?
No.
They were calling him substitute teacher Daniel Jones. I mean, the guy was wearing khakis.
Oh, yeah. He looked like some of the guys I work with and how they dress for work every day in khakis.
North Face backpack walking in.
Well, he didn't have the fleece vest on, Scott, so that was the only thing.
You're right. That was missing. Touche.
Well played. But
he's got his first real defense coming to town next week. I'm excited to see how he does against the Vikings, which I assume will be a very motivated Vikings team.
Yeah.
As long as it's in the 1 p.m. slot, which it probably will because it's the Giants.
Yep.
It is 1 p.m.
I'll be watching, screaming at my TV.
Am I reading this right? There's only 2 4 o'clock games next week.
It's possible.
That is just... Thank you.
Are we getting into the buys now? right?
Yeah, there was 2 buys this week, 2 more next week. Super early. I don't know why they do it. And I don't know why some weeks it's like week 8, you have 6 teams on bye, and then you have 2 teams on buys in other weeks.
Yeah.
Can someone explain that to me?
I have no idea.
Probably some genius over at the NFL.
There you go. You got to shoot an
Deciding on
email,
us.
Scott.
Yeah, I wonder if they'd get back to me.
Yeah, has the
2
XFL
4
gotten
o'clock
back to you?
games. I haven't emailed them yet.
Oh, okay, it's coming.
It's coming. I'm
Love
excited
that.
to talk to them.
Maybe they won't implode like the American. That was great.
No. 2 4 o'clock games?
Come
are
on,
they?
NFL.
What is wrong with them?
Get it together.
I understand that we have the 10 or the 8 a.m. game, but come on.
Oh, that's right. Who's Oakland and
Bears,
Chicago?
Oakland. Auto bet Bears. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, whenever it opens.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Get ready. Auto bet.
I don't care if it's Chase Daniel.
Yeah.
You look better.
When you pick
know-
this up on Monday morning, log in, click, click,
Bears.
Yeah. Bears, Bulls, Bears, Bulls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go time. Go time.
Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Pigskin Junkies. For myself, Michael Larson, Big Brother Jerry Larson, and Scott Panza, thank you so much for tuning in. More picks coming next week. We will talk to you all Friday and Saturday.
Later.
See ya.